Hey, math friends. So our learning target today is I can simplify expressions using something called the distributive property. So you're super familiar with the idea of PEMDAS, right? Where you have to do what's inside the parenthesis first. Do the parenthesis first, and then we move to exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So that always holds true when we're trying to simplify an expression. The dilemma sometimes happens when inside the parenthesis we have a variable or we have unlike terms and we cannot combine. So there's no way to move through that order of operations and simplify without somehow getting rid of the parenthesis. So what the distributive property of today will do for us today, it's going to show us a way to get rid of this parenthesis so we can do the rest of the order of operations, or at least part of them, when we have a variable stuck on the inside. So the idea is this, and this is just the formula, so there'll be some numbers in our work today, is that a way to kill this parenthesis or get rid of the parenthesis is use the distributive property, where you distribute a number on the outside to the number on the inside, and we call that everybody gets the candy in my class. So it's like having a group of kids come to trick or treat. I know not everybody celebrates Halloween, but just in handing them some candy to the first kid and to the next kid. So we'd simply multiply A times B plus A times C. So we just multiply A to the B and then A to the C. We keep the sign on the inside. Likewise, if it were subtraction, we would multiply A times B. We'd keep the sign in the middle, and then we would multiply A times C. So the steps to simplify. Basically, we are going to just, got to go back to that screen. We're going to multiply the number on the outside, to each number on the inside. And then after that, we simplify. So things like combine like terms or any sort of combination of things that we are able to do. So let's take a look at the why we are using this. Here's a great example. Order of operations says that we have to do the parenthesis first. So we want to do parenthesis first. So we have x plus 6. We can't combine those. They are unlike terms. So the only way to get rid of the parenthesis is to use the distributive property. Keep in mind there's a 1 sitting there. So we would take the 3, we multiply it to the 1, becomes 3. We reattach the x. The sign in the middle is add. We take the 3, we multiply it to the 6. So we multiply the number on the outside to each term on the inside. Now, simplify is the next step, but these are unlike terms, so we're unable to simplify. So as far as we can go for simplify the expressions is this, 3x plus 18. We can't go any further until we know what the value of x is. So, next problem. How do we simplify the expression? Well, you can see there's a variable trapped on the inside, so the only way to get rid of the parentheses is use this thing called the distributive property. So we multiply the number on the outside to the number on the inside. We keep the sign. We multiply the number on the outside to the other number on the inside, and we drag the x down. The next step is called simplify, but these are unlike terms, so we are unable to simplify, so we are left with 10 minus 8x. Next problem. We have a negative 1 sitting on the outside. The only way to get rid of this parenthesis using the distributive property is to multiply the number on the inside to the number on the, or the outside to the number on the inside. Keep the sign. We multiply negative 1, watch what happens though here, times negative 7 becomes positive 7. Negative 1 times negative 7 becomes positive 7. And I get that looks like a subtraction sign, but it's kind of the same. So the expression then is negative 3x plus 7, and we cannot simplify that. They are unlike terms, distributive property. So let's try some examples. So we're going to work through these on this page where they get a little bit bigger as we go, and then you'll have an opportunity to try some on your own. So when we multiply here, we multiply the number on the outside to the number on the inside. We only do this when we cannot simplify the inside of the parenthesis, which gives us 16. We multiply the number on the outside to the number on the inside is positive 40, because the reason why that was a negative 8 on the outside multiplied by a negative 5 on the inside, which is why it's a positive 40x. Put the x back. So walk back through that if you need to. These are unlike terms, so we cannot simplify. That's 16 plus 40x is the best we can do on that problem. Distributive property, next problem. Recognize there's a negative 1 sitting on the outside. So we're going to multiply the number on the outside to the number on the inside is negative 9. And then we reattach the x that was sitting there. Don't forget to do that. And then we take that negative 1 and we multiply it by the other number on the inside. That is a triangle problem. So we get negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4. And that is the best we can do. Those are unlike terms we cannot combine. So as we move to the next two problems, you will notice that we are going to be able to do some more combining down here. So we're going to multiply the number on the outside to the number on the inside, which is 5x. Multiply the number on the outside to the number on the inside is 15. Notice this is not in the group. So we are not going to give candy to that person that's not in the group. So do not distribute there. We only distribute the things inside the parenthesis. So if I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. So this results in 5x plus 14. Those are unlike terms. So that's as far as we can go. We can just combine those two numbers. All right, next problem. This is a tricky one. This is often one that kids get confused on. So very important one that we should talk about. I'm not really sure why I'm on the line tool here. Sorry about that. This right here is outside the group. So we're not going to distribute that 9. It just has to wait. So essentially, I'm just going to drag it down. Just drag it down. It's not in the group. The negative 2 is going to go into the parenthesis through multiplication is negative 6. Multiply. That's a triangle. We have negative 2 times positive 3 is negative 6. Then we take the negative 2 and multiply it to the negative 3 is positive 6. And then put the x back. If you need to pause the video, rewind that, do it. Now do something called combine like terms if we can. These are both integers, so we can combine those. If we tug a war that, we have 9 players on team positive, 6 on team negative, simply just 3 plus 6x. Combine like terms if possible, and that's as best as we can do. 3 plus 6x. All right, here we go. Next one. Combine like terms. Distributive property first. So we have this 1 sitting here. We cannot do the inside of the parentheses, so we distribute the number on the outside to the number on the inside, and then reattach the variable x. Again, pause video at any time. Then we're going to take this negative 4 and multiply it to this positive 4. So essentially we have a negative 4 on the outside, a positive 4 on the inside gives us a negative 16 inside that parenthesis. So that's just the parenthesis. This negative 3x is not in the parenthesis, so we will not distribute. We're just going to drag the negative 3x down. Just simply drag it down because it's not in the group. It's not in the parenthesis. Now, combining like terms, those are going to be combined. We have 4 players on team negative. We have 3 players on team negative. So all those players ended up on team negative. So it's negative 7x minus 16. So we're left with negative 7x minus 16. All right, next section over here. Distribute is 14x. Distribute, negative 28. Let's talk about why. That's a triangle problem. We have a positive 7 on the outside. We have a negative 4 on the inside, results in negative 28. Now, the next problem, or the next part of the problem, we have to do another distribution. I think I just lost power. Sorry, my computer shut down. So we have this 1 sitting on the outside here. So we're going to distribute. We're going to go negative 1 times 10 is negative 10. And negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3x. So let's talk about that. That negative 1 times 10 is a negative times a positive. And that negative 1 times negative 3, negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3x. Now, we want to combine like terms in the next step, combine like terms. So we end up with 17x minus 38. So the x's can be combined. And right here, if we tug a war that, we end up with a minus 38. Those are unlike terms. So that's as far as we can go. Combine like terms. All right. So let's try this. Let's try this next section. So we're going to do this next section together. Combine like terms and use the distributive property. So the first problem over here, we're going to distribute the negative 6 is negative 30. Negative 6 times 5 is negative 30. Distribute. Negative 6 times 1 is negative 6, and then I need you to put the x back. That essentially gets rid of that first parenthesis. And then we have to do it again on the back side. So we're going to multiply, which is positive 14. Put the x back. And then we're going to multiply is positive 2. So that's 14x plus 2. Combining like terms, these are my x's. So if I tug a war that, I have 6 players on team negative. I have 14 players on team positive. That results in a positive 8x. For my numbers, my integers, I have 2 players on team positive and 30 players on team negative. That results in a negative 28. So these can be in either order, but I'm going to go with negative 28 plus 8x. That is the same as 8x minus 28. So that's as far as we can go. There isn't any way to combine those since they're unlike terms. All right. We're going to try this last one, and then you're going to try some on your own. So the distributive property here, we have a negative 1 on the outside. We have a 1 on the inside. So we distribute. That gives us negative 2. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1 using the triangle method, and put the x back. So check that out. Multiply the negative 1 to both terms on the inside. Now we're going to go do that again on the next parenthesis. We're going to multiply, and then we're going to multiply again. And then we put the x back. So we multiplied the negative 3 to the 6, and then we multiplied the negative 3 to the 8. Put the x back. Now that minus 12 is not in the group. So I'm simply going to just drag it down. It's not part of the distributive property. So the next step that we're going to do is we're going to combine like terms. So combine like terms. So I'm going to combine all the things that have x's in them and all the numbers. So let's just start with the integers. So that's an integer, that's an integer, that's an integer. They all happen to be on team negative. It looks like negative 2, negative 18, and negative 12. All of those. So that gives me negative 32 on team negative. I will highlight those in case you're having a hard time seeing it. So all the integers end up on the same team. Combine like terms. And then that leaves me the x's on the same team. So if I tug of war those x's, we have 1x on team positive and 24 x's on team negative. That means it's a negative 23. Put the x back. Now you could also write that in the other order and still have a correct answer. Any order is fine because it's the commutative property. Okay, group, we're almost there. We're at the 15-minute mark, super important skill. I'm going to ask that you try these 4 problems. I'd like you to pause the video, try all 4. We will go over those and see how you do. Okay, so you should have had enough time to solve those. Let's see how you did. Grade your papers. Distribute. That's 7x plus 21. Unlike terms, done. 7x plus 21. Next problem. There's a 1 sitting here. Distribute. Positive 16. Distribute. Positive 8. Put the x back. Reminder that that's a minus 1 on the inside. The next problem. Put a 1 here. Distribute. Negative 9. Put the x back. Plus 4. Unlike terms, done. Hopefully we're 3 for 3. Next problem. Multiply. Multiply. Put the x back. Hopefully we are 4 for 4. Combine like terms. All right. And the last 2 problems are here. They're a little more challenging, so let's see how you did. Or let's give it a shot. You pause the video. I want you to try both of those. Make sure that you only use the distributive property with the number next to the parenthesis. When you push play, I'll go over those. So pause that video and give them a shot. Okay, you should have had enough time to give them a shot. This 9 is not in the parentheses, so we're going to just drag it down. So we're going to distribute right here. That gives us a -6. I feel like we already solved this problem. And we distribute here is a +6. We did solve this problem, I'm pretty sure. Combine like terms, that gives us a 3 plus a 6x. Unlike terms, done. Boom. I hope you are 5 for 5 on your check step. The last problem of the day. It's going to require us to use the distributive property 2 times because we have 2 parentheses. We have a 1 sitting here. And then we are going to take this -6 and we're going to multiply, which is -30. We're going to multiply, which is -6. Put the x back. That's the first parenthesis. We're going to go back in again. Second parenthesis, we're going to multiply a 2 to the 7 is 14. Put the x back. Multiply the 2 to the 1 is 2. I feel like we did this one too. What am I doing? Okay, so with that said, let's combine like terms. We have a -30 as an integer and a +2. That results in -28. And then combine like terms with our x's results in +8x. I know we did that problem somewhere. I feel like we did. So one of these is the correct answer for combine like terms. So for your summary for your work today, reminder of the why. Why do we use this? Why the distributive property? It's a situation where you have an expression and you want to get rid of the parenthesis, but you cannot combine like terms in here. So you can't move to the next step to simplify. This is when we use it. It's the only way to get rid of the parenthesis when there's a variable stuck on the inside. If it was simply just 3 times 8 minus 5, then we would be okay. But that is our dilemma and why we use the distributive property. All right, group, nice job today. Keep working hard. You're doing great. Have a glorious night.